Culture of innovation to solve community challenges. Paul has dedicated his career in libraries to help transform library operations and services while remaining focused on the core mission of the public library and the impact of people working together. So please welcome Paul and thank you.
Okay? Great. So what I want to do, and I'll make sure I don't go over time, I want to give you a bit of background about kind of my thinking and about the Hamilton Public Library. And when we talk about innovation, talking about making changes, I think it's very important that we talk about internal as well as external changes. And I hope that after this talk, you'll think about how some of the strategies we're following are applicable to your environment. And a question to think about is, kind of what are some longer-term trends that we're going to have to deal with and how do they impact on innovation? My slides, I'm not going to, there's a fair bit of text in the slides because I wanted to share information with you. And so I'm not going to talk about every point that's there, but I want to make sure that you cover a lot of ground in a little bit of time. So just a little bit about myself. I started out at the New York Public Library as a reference librarian back in 1994, and then I quickly started working with technology. And so I had about 20 years working with technology in public libraries before becoming CEO of the Hamilton Public Library back in 2012. Now, you've all been here at Hamilton Public Library today, and so I won't go into much detail. But you probably know that we have 22 branches and 2 bookmobiles. The city of Hamilton is a very large area, about 1,137 square kilometers. This institution was founded in 1889, the Hamilton Public Library was, but then we went through municipal amalgamation back in 2000 and in 2001. So we kind of, in many ways, look at 2001 as a rebirth of the library. We merged with Dundas and Wentworth. And in fact, before amalgamation, I had just started working on Wentworth libraries. Our annual operating budget is about $32 million. And we have a lot of great support from the city. And HPL does have a long history of innovation and partnerships and collaboration. I'm going to focus on the recent years. I won't take you back to 1889. So one of the questions that I know has faced me throughout my career is how do we get the resources to meet current challenges and future challenges? And from my perspective and what I've seen working here at Hamilton, working at New York Public Library, previously working at the University of Toronto, that we're basically a well-funded organization. So we have a lot of resources. The most effective way to develop, to serve new needs or current needs is to shift existing resources to solve current problems. We do need to look for getting extra money, which we do, but ideally, if you can equip existing staff and existing departments to take on new challenges, that's going to be orders of magnitude more sustainable than trying to add on from your core budget. And for us, one of the strategies that Hamilton Public Library has been engaged in is really embracing self-service. And I'll talk about, so we've done, most libraries have done this to a lesser or greater extent. And so, as someone that was involved in so many different technology innovations, I really believe in, we've got to keep it simple. We have to avoid points of failure, and then we'll be successful. And we also have to provide the right size solution to what the problem is. And sometimes we try to solve too many problems at once. The other thing that I've noticed that I think is missed sometimes is it's easy to get attention for getting investment in some new great service like the makerspace. Everyone loves that. But we need to balance our investments with new services, with creating capacity, with equipping existing staff, with improving internal operations. You know, the whole lean philosophy is, I think it's so true. So, I'm certainly a believer in a relentless incrementalism. And one thing that, so as a Hamilton Public Library, my predecessor always used to say, there's two things that we need to be successful. The first one is we need to make sure when time anyone walks in our doors, they have great customer service, and the service we're actually providing people is relevant to them today. That's number one. The second one is we need City Council and community leaders to view the Hamilton Public Library as an effective and responsible organization, that we're handling public finances in an ethical and responsible manner. I think those things are still absolutely true. But I've had on this other one, and I think this is so true in the 21st century, because things are changing, it's hard for people to keep up with what's happening, is our responsiveness as an organization to community partners and to community influencers is critical as well. You know, I can say the Hamilton Public Library is an amazing organization, but when one of our community partners says that, that's much more powerful. And if someone walks in one library and has a bad experience at any one of our libraries, that gets around. And so we need to keep that in mind. I believe very firmly that if you want to do partnership, we have a lot of talk about community-led librarianship. If you don't practice it internally, there's no foundation for it. So make sure you need meaningful collaboration and engagement internally if you're going to go out in the community and engage successfully. One thing I've always said, and I learned this when I started working in IT at New York Public Library, no matter what level you are in an organization, okay, if you want to be, if you solve immediate problems that are given in front of you, and you do so in a way consistent with the broader objectives of the organization, people are going to be happy. And, you know, so if you do that, you're not going to get micromanaged. People get micromanaged sometimes because they're working in an opposite direction, or they're not solving the immediate problem. And another advice that I was given, and this is so true, if you're not focused on getting credit, if that's not what your focus is, you'll get a lot more opportunities to advance broader goals. And I think that's true. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm sort of doing this a bit backwards. I'm going to show you a few slides that show you how this journey of relentless incrementalism has taken us in terms of sort of big term numbers for the library, just quickly. And then I'm going to talk a bit about some of the thinking behind it. So here's, anyone here that works in municipalities knows that the municipalities are under pressure from the province. Hamilton is no exception. There's a lot of pressures on our council. And so this is a bit of history of our record. Where it's green, we've met city targets, and where we haven't, you can see it a couple of times, they've been minuscule over. So we've been able to basically meet our budget targets. And I'm hoping we're going to go, we're starting to lay the county case for next year is 2% direction, but we're actually going to ask for an enhancement, and we're feeling pretty good about that. We always show this in our budget presentation, and so when we were founded in 2001, we had 320 FTE equivalents. Today we have 298, and we're going into 2020, 298. So no one's been laid off in this organization in over a decade. We're trying to maintain our staffing, but we know that the city faces a lot of challenges. And so, you know, through attrition, as people leave the organization, that's when we look at positions. And so all that is done through attrition. You can see some other metrics, open hours. Anyway, so what does this look like? So this is kind of a big picture of our, people think about the library as a place where people borrow books, borrow DVDs. People more and more come to the library to hang out, to study, to connect to computers. And so you can see this is, the top line is our visits, The second line, the big blue there is our physical circulation. And really our strategy, we know we're going through this digital shift. Our goal has been, let's grow the digital as fast as the physical is shrinking. And then because ultimately council looks at, and I think impact is more important than numbers, but if you're a big organization or a fairly large organization, people look at your numbers, and so you need to have that piece done as well. But during that time, look at the growth in use of technology at the library. And then, so the maker space upstairs, the digital media labs we have around the system, more computers we're having, all of those services and departments have been created by reallocating existing resources. Because we're not checking out manually every item with the barcode. 90% of that is done self-check by our customers. And and this next one is really important. What we've been able to do is that capacity that's been freed up has gone into impacts by increasing our programs, our learning programs. We're doing a lot more social engagement with seniors, supporting kids in their literacy. So all of that. So last year we had, we had just under 10,000 people attend about 180,000 programs. The capacity for that was totally generated by, I'd say totally, probably 95% generated by internal reallocation of resources. We do get some money, and we're putting more money into programming than we need to. One of the big things we're working on right now is, and this is a graph of the open hours per week and our staffing in FTE, and what we're trying to set up for future budget increases from council. But we're not in a period we can go to council and say, we want to open all our closed days. Can you give us a 10% increase, please? This is not the 70s. And so, if our ask is too big, we're not going to get anywhere. So we're trying to internally solve as many of the problems as we can before we ask for more. And I think that's always been the strategy. Okay, so that's kind of where we are. And Assad talked earlier about the extended access. We're hopefully going to be opening a new branch. Oh, sorry, I'll back up. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to talk about, and I'll just go through this quickly, but so when we think about innovation, we have to take a step back and think of what's kind of going on here, and what are trends today that are going to impact us in the future. And I love this graph on the left, which is we're in a time of exponential growth in technology. Industry can go like this. It's nuts. The thing is, and actually, in the last, I'm actually adding political now too. When you think about Brexit and what's happened in the world politically, it's not just industry that's going wonky. It's our politics. And in spite of this, I don't know if the human imagination is growing very much. But then, we live in a world of Voltaire, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Sorry, bit of a tongue tie. Okay, so because of my background in IT, and I came across this many years ago, and I think this trend is overwhelming. And that is, do people know the law of accelerating returns, or Moore's law? Price, performance, and bandwidth capacity of information progresses expands exponentially through multiple paradigm shifts. And this is, if we think innovation is going to slow down, we're actually in the early stages of massive technology change. We're talking about AI. It's going to cost, not too long, 1 cent for the computing capacity of the human brain. So what does that mean for a public sector institution? Well, there is a positive side to this. The technologies that are both affordable and available to the public sector will continue to evolve even more rapidly as time passes. And we also know as the time passes, the life cycle of major technology changes will continue to get shorter. So what this means, I think, for public sector is we we have to be more responsive to change. Otherwise, we're going to miss opportunities. And then this second one, and I don't know if anyone's ever a web experience, you'll remember Jacob Nielsen and his first law of web user experience. I generalize this and I call it the law of customer expectations. And I've heard it worded differently by others, but just customers spend more time experiencing service and technology outside of our organization, and that is where they form their expectations for how our systems and services work. Does this make sense? We know that. And so the implication for us is our customer expectations about how our services and technology support is changing very rapidly. The opportunity for us, actually in the library, is people will need help keeping up with the changes that are happening around them. It's a huge opportunity. Lifelong learning is never more important. Okay, I won't go through all of these, but and I think these are the library. In 2017, we adopted thoughts for the next decade. What's going to be happening in the next decade is key planning assumptions before doing and the first one. So these are library related, but I think you might draw some inferences more broadly. So the first one is about disruptive change, and it's about really, we as an organization need to maintain our adaptability and our resiliency. The second one is competition for funding. It's not dire, but we know there's going to be pressure for funding and pressure for capital funding. This third one is really an opportunity, and I think we're positioned to contribute to the health and success of our communities if we work in partnership with others. And the second last one is about the trend of digital content through growing competition. The last one is that we didn't have network security wasn't mentioned anywhere as a threat when we did the 2010. Okay, now this is huge. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to talk about what I think are 7 things that if you want to do innovation in a really sustainable way or an important way, you can't do without these. And you probably will have heard some of these before by other speakers, maybe in different ways. People familiar with the public service value chain? Do people know this? When I started my career working in technology, I was always trying to get operational performance. And that is critical. But if you don't have engaged employees, people don't experience customer satisfaction, and they're not going to have trust in our organization. And these are actually, those 6 factors are all, they're true across industry. So for us, we do well with most of the things, but we notice that career path that offer opportunities for advancement is a problem in our organization. We're trying to address that. People who come here, they get hired, they don't leave. Okay, change management. And I encourage anyone to read Peter Jager's ethical approach to change management. He really talks about this idea, and there was an earlier speaker on change management. The whole thing here is that and what I learned from him is the time to talk about change is before it happens. Get buy-in for realizing there's a need to change. And then you can work on solutions. But what we do is, I'm going to be brilliant. I'm going to come in and I'm going to say, I'm going to fix your problem. And it's like, But instead, can we agree on a problem? Okay, then let's work together to fix it. It's a totally different process. And he asks these 7 questions. Whenever you're implementing change, the first 2 are the most important. Why? And one thing we need to know is people have a natural BS indicator. They know when people are bullshitting. So don't. Tell the reason why. You've got to be honest. You also have to answer to people what's in it for them. How is this change going to affect them? Those other questions are great. And I have a picture there of King Lear because I think when we talk about project management or change management or anything, one of my wisest professors at university when I was an undergraduate said, this book, King Lear, is about disappointed expectations. Things didn't turn out so well, did they? Okay? And he said, and I think this is true, the source of most human conflict is disappointed expectations. People think one thing is going to happen, and then something else happens. And so if you're going to make change, you got to broadcast what you're going to do, and you've got to get people on board before the change starts to happen. Because when people are going through the change, they're in the emotions of the Kubler-Ross, going through the stages of grief. Systematic evaluation is so important. And, I think we've talked about this, or people have talked about this. And I've learned a lot from project management. I'm not PMI certified, but I do think that, the way I see it is we need to apply the right level of project management in the right context. And that, so that's important. One thing that's informed me, and there's probably some report that you can read related to the public sector, but this was done by OCLC in 2017, and they're 2007, and they said, if you want public libraries to be supported by political leaders, this is how you need to position yourself. If we're about information, we're in trouble. We need to be about transformation. And all those other ones. Why do you think we want to be community infrastructure? So when a partner has a problem or there's a community initiative, we're at the table because we're supporting others in their work. And people need to see us as about the future, not the past. If you want to be seen about the future, if you have old customer service practices and old technology, is that position yourself for being about the future? I'd say not. One thing that I believe, and I'm almost done here, but innovating the right problem at the right time, this innovation continuum. Okay, we are not Google, we are not Facebook, we don't have billions of dollars. Okay, so we don't have to come up with the new and crazy stuff all the time. We need to experiment, but we need to get things done when we're in the impractical or the possible stage. We experiment, do it in the possible. What we don't want to do is, and we did this where, was it 2012, most of our branches still didn't have, interact machines. You had to bring in cash. Well, we were in the well past expected, if not required. So if others are telling you need to do this, that's kind of a sign that you're at the wrong end of the continuum. But don't try to feel like you have to be out at the other end. And for me, meaningful change, meaningful technology or innovation has lasting impacts, and it will have lasting, it'll gain meaningful support. If you do something fancy, you're going to get fleeting attention. But if it's not really solving a problem or changing something, it's not going to work, or it's not going to have a meaningful impact. The collaborative leadership. Does everyone know this? I love this collaboration continuum. And this really inspires me in a lot of things. Where are we working internally? Where, or with our outside partners, are we going to compete? Or, and we're not always going to be in integration, that's fine. But let's be at least in the cooperate, or even better, coordinate and collaborate zone. But what that means is trust needs to be high, and your sense of turf needs to be low. And if we're always worried about just our turf, then we're going to be, maybe just coexisting. So I have about 3 more slides. I just want to talk a little bit about our external strategies for partnerships and a conclusion. So we have this thing on our intranet that has partnership communications. It's partnership and agency contacts. And we use that SharePoint list to generate our annual report to the board that has our key partner. There's just a little tag in it that you click on, include in board report, and we generate a Word document. And it's pretty good. But we try to list every agency contact there, so everyone in the organization has this. We have 4 reasons why we partner. First 2 would seem self-evident probably, but the third one and the fourth one are very important. We support the City of Hamilton and broad-based the community initiatives that advance Hamilton's economic, social, and cultural goals. If someone's doing something good for a community, that's good. We're going to do what we can to support them. And I think the other one is talking about resources. What can we do to enhance coordination and reduce overlap? People are working in isolation all the time. You know, how can we use our presence in the community to get people working together, to get agencies not trying to compete? There's no end of demand for problems that can be solved. So let's make sure we're smarter about working together. I had this little matrix here about different strategies for partners, because I can honestly say I think our organization has gone through. We used to be command control, you know, and basically partnerships were very centrally controlled. You know, you didn't talk, only senior people could talk to partners, and then everyone else just followed what they were supposed to do. But you know, that empowers leadership, low staff engagement. You know, it's limited in its impacts. We sort of moved in response to this to more minimal control, where we said, you know, go out there and meet the people in your neighborhood, and you know, let's start more partnerships. And it worked, but basically what happened, I think, is we were creating confusion, and people were coordinating things. And it's hard to evaluate the fact of this. So we're now trying to go to more strategic control, where we have a framework, maximum coordination, but you know, minimum control. What if instead of telling branches, this is the programs you do, saying, here's a menu, choose off the menu. You know, we got to do things to engage people, to make people, and allow local innovation where not everything is centrally run. I think that's very important. I think this is my last slide. And, you know, so just in conclusion, I think, you know, what I've learned is that collaborative leadership is absolutely critical. And, you know, it's very important. If you're a project manager, I've been there before, you get the job to do, I need to get this done. The way I look at it, and I've always looked at it, is I need to get this done, but I also want to make sure that I have a good relationship. So next time I need to come back to the same person and say, will you help me with this? They're going to be more likely, or at least as likely, to do it. So you've got to get results and relationships. And I think we can have failed projects, internally or externally, but if our integrity and trust is maintained, it's not a failure. We've learned something. Partnership is critical. And we as organizations trying to advance our communities need to work together. There are plenty of bad stuff going on out there. We need to work together. And I would say also that innovation without a successful change management strategy is not going to lead to good results. And so you need to create a culture of trust, engagement. I like Joel, fun. You know, we need to have unleash people to be able to be themselves. And I believe, and sometimes there may be radical changes, I do believe that what we need is a steady rate of progress. We need to avoid those spasms of enthusiasm. You know, let's just keep moving forward. Let's not run and then stop and sit and you know, rest on our laurels and then wait till someone picks us and we have to get moving again. No, let's just keep moving forward at a reasonable place. And the last thing is, my goal is to get more resources for the Hamilton Public Library. You know, and so when we talk about, you know, the innovation we've done, it's not about cutting. It's about expanding our impact. It's about shifting, creating new positions where people can provide more impact on the community. And so I say using innovation to create capacity, and I put save money, but I don't like to think of it that way. And overtime works, but you need resource, you need patience, and shifting resources to new areas of demand works way better than cost cutting. So we could have said, oh, well, look, we have all this work that's disappeared, you know, let's reduce our budget, or, you know, we don't want to do that. We want to expand and have this a place of growth not a place of where we're worried about, oh, are we dealing with another year of cuts? So, and I touch wood that we haven't had a budget cut since 1994. Now we've had lean years in there, we've never had a cut. And so that's kind of our goal moving forward. Anyway, I think we're pretty much out of time, but I don't know if there's time for any questions. I'd be happy to.
Anybody with any questions? Everybody's tired.
I think everyone's had a long day. Sorry, it's already 4 o'clock, so I think I went 2 minutes over. Sorry about that.
So, if you could just take the clock.
Okay, just a couple of more minutes. As we are wrapping up our event today. First of all, I just want to say mission accomplished. Thank you very much to the Hamilton Public Library for organizing an amazing event today. Our tradition continues, so we have good expectations for the coming forums next year, which I'm going to mention in a minute. So just wanted to mention the Public Sector Project Management Forum. Basically, is focused on getting together people who practice project management in different capacities throughout the public sector. And the purpose of these events that we've been having for the past several years now is basically to share with all of us practitioners successes and lessons learned, and continue to grow the practice of project management in the public sector. So with that said, I just want to mention briefly the members of the steering committee for the Public Sector Project Management Forum. I want to say Sherry Fahim, she's our chair. Sue Petrie from the city of Mississauga. Alison from the city of Vaughan. Terry Williams, Whitby, just give me a minute. Oh, sure, okay. Fabio Cincinelli from the province of Ontario. Cindy Wackett, Town of Newmarket. Thank you. She was a brave lady, with the mouse trap. Melody Gonzalez from the Peel. Myself, I'm Melanie Tam in the city of Toronto. So with this, I hope you guys take good lessons today and good learnings to your workplace tomorrow, and start practicing and continue to improve the project management practice around our sector. With that, I just want to announce that get ready. We have more action coming up next year. The spring forum will be hosted by the city of Cambridge. There will be some for that. It will be provided as soon as we confirm that. And the fall forum will be hosted by the regional municipality of Niagara. So that get ready and spend a couple of days there maybe. Make sure it's on a Friday perhaps. So we'll announce the dates accordingly. So please visit our website with all the information. You will get more details as we get closer to the date. But keep up with us and keep following us through the website to get more information. Something that is important for all of those people who are PMI certified, you can claim your PDUs. And as a matter of fact, if you look into the pamphlet that was given to you, you will have the breakdown of PDUs by session, so feel free to make a reference to that. And I believe there's some representation from PMI itself around the room, or maybe near the booths we have upstairs. So if you have further questions in terms of how to claim the points, the PDUs, please feel free to do that. So, without further ado, I will just pass it to Sherry Fahim, our chair, to wrap up and close.
Thank you very much, Molly, and I get to do the fun stuff, the presents. But before the presents, I just want to have another shout out to the HPL team. There was a lot of work behind behind the scenes here, communications group, volunteers, Rosita, Veronica, Shelley's not here with us today, Evan, who did those great graphics. We have Karen Denny, who arranged for that amazing food all day, so I really want to have a shout out for you guys and the IT team for arranging some of the back stuff and the streaming and so on. So thanks everybody for all your help. And for the prizes, I also want to thank very much the supporters of the event. I want to thank Joel for the amazing sessions he had, for his donation of the books. The supporters who provided support that make a lot of that things happen. And we also have now 2 big presents actually that we're going to draw for. So we've got something from, we've got an iPad from MK and we've got a speaker from IJO. So thank you very much for your kind support there. And we're going to call, and then we've got 4 presents from HPL. So in total, we're going to call for 6 winners. We're going to start with the HPL ones. Can somebody come up and pick up a number for me? And you have to be here to get a present, huh? And the number is 00458510. Yay! The next one. 458679. Woo! Somebody?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Christine! 458638. Somebody left? Do we call for another number? Yeah. That's 458722. So, 458652. Better not be you, Lloyd. We have a winner. Congratulations. One more of those. 458629. Yep. 629. Yep. That's fun. 458745. Well, we've got 2 big presents now, so I'm going to start with the iPad, and I'm going to ask MK to come out here as well to give it out. I should pull 2. Wow, okay, go ahead. So Virginia, yeah. Sure. 458727. Woo! So that was a last minute addition, so thank you.
458-622.